A Tale of Love and Loyalty. All right. What are our thoughts on that?
Oh, girl, we have a lot.
A lot. A lot. This
Even
drama was chaotic.
a little bit. Because even for the short run time that this one had, there was a lot more to unpack than I thought it would be, because the whole series just kind of like heel turns in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I would say as well, it has a lot to do with the way the show was edited. A lot of the scenes did not have context clues in it. You jump from point A to point B, and there was no explanation as to how you even got to point B.
Right. Oh, and on top of that, the editing already was messy to begin with. There was one scene that I remember the two main leads were having discussion. He literally turns like to the right and the music changed immediately. I'm like, what's going on?
Like, there were so many dramatic shifts. It was like, and I get it because it's a short drama. You know, this drama had, I watched the 20 episode version. I think there's a 10 episode version on Viki.
Which I watched.
Which you watched. I watched it on Tencent. And each episode is like 15 minutes long. And it is one of those shows where you're going into it knowing it's not like the best TV show ever. But I also didn't really, as you said, expect dramatic music changes, a lot of, you know, staring into space, a lot of just kind of like...
Scenery chewing. There was a lot of monologuing, like for the last couple of crucial episodes.
Yep.
They did nothing but talk.
Yeah, there was so much dialogue and like not enough like actually showing me stuff. Like, I was being told more stuff than I was actually being shown. And like everybody knows, the first rule of screenwriting is to show, not tell. Well, this show completely ignored that advice.
Absolutely. It absolutely did that. And which is unfortunate, because I think it, especially for Lee Fei, for Richard Lee, it was a waste of his talent.
Oh, he's definitely talented. I can tell that he can act. Like, he doesn't really, I'm going to say this, deserve to be in short dramas, if I can say.
I agree. 100.
Or
100.
if he is going to be in a short drama, let him be in a good one that's fairly decent, because to be honest, this drama didn't have to be terrible. The plot isn't actually that bad, right?
No, it's not. It was the concrete, the bones of the piece would have been better if a lot of the editing, or even like I guess like the scenic choices would not have been made, and or the last quote unquote episode or 2 episodes weren't placed where they were in the context of the story.
Oh, that's so true. Like, basically, the ending scenes should have been at the beginning. So they were telling us stuff long after things had ended, and they were like, oh, this is the backstory to what you've just watched. Why are you telling me that in like the last 2 episodes? I should have known that at the beginning.
Right, or at least like if you were watching, because I'm sure like one half was covering, because since you watched like the last 2 episodes, it was 1 for me. I'm sure like the first half, or like that 1 episode should have been the one up front where they met.
Yes.
They were established in like that, or even trickled it throughout to where you had like a long scene in like episode 2 or 3 to explain like why he's bitter at her giving him up.
Yes.
For, you know,
because
the queen.
He just seems mad otherwise. Like, he just seems crazy, right? Like, you're just a mad person.
Crazy mad, yeah.
But he actually has a very valid reason to be upset with the female lead. And,
right.
you know, the plot is about, you know, him wanting to marry her, them actually planning to get married, and the emperor getting completely in between them. The plot is actually very complicated, but the way they lay it out, it kind of like, it waters down something that could have been quite amazing.
It absolutely does, because like you had said, it makes him completely unhinged, where like, I get that you were engaged before, but we didn't know or have an understanding of how rich and deep down y'all's meaning go. As far as we had, like, we're getting at the beginning, all we could have known is that she was just promised to him, not that they actually had met and had like some concrete or beginning of feelings.
Exactly.
At the beginning of this. So they should have went ahead and just sprinkled that first part of that scene in. But the later half, when you start seeing like the machinations of the emperor at work, or the crown prince at work, you could put that in the late episodes later on in the series, so where it wasn't so spoilery up front. But now I can understand in the commentary of Vicky why a lot of people were told to go ahead and watch the last episode before you start this one, because
To give them context.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Had I watched it in that order, maybe it would have changed my viewing experience, because if you watch it from the beginning, you're pretty much confused until you get to the last few episodes, and even then you're wondering why they've somehow misplaced that particular ending. Like, you should have placed that at a different point, in the middle or in the beginning. Like, again, adding a context clue right at the end is actually insane. And
yes, and by that time, like, when you get to the end of it, honestly, didn't care as much.
No.
Invested because the main plot of the story was already done, and unfortunately, it was done tragically.
Yeah.
So by this time, it's just like, why should I care about?
Yeah, exactly.
This?
I
Like,
stopped
y'all are
caring
trying to
at
end
the
on a happy
end.
note when this isn't what this drama was about. To begin with.
Exactly. Like, the ending felt very odd considering how the drama went. It's called A Tale of Love and Loyalty. I did not expect a tragic ending, to be honest. Like, the ending was utterly tragic, you know. I was hoping the male lead and female lead would end up together, right? Because the female lead is this very, like, self-sacrificial kind of, like, flower girl. Like, in my video where I talked about the flower girl trope in C-dramas, where she is in front of people that are acting villainous or actually villainous, and she remains very sweet and pure-spirited, which attracts these male leads to her. And so...
Yes.
She becomes empress for her sister, because her sister's like, oh, I want you to protect the crown prince, he's gonna be all alone. And so she marries her brother-in-law to protect her nephew.
And she's contractually obligated for 5 years. She's like 5 years to marry him, and she's at the tail end of this contract.
And you can tell as well that, like, she is very much in love with the male lead, very much sexually attracted to the male lead, but because of the contract, but she's not able to fulfill her desire and his desire for her because of the contract that she's in. And the male lead is also very upset because they were supposed to be married, and so he often is kind of bartering with her and kind of threatening her and kind of goading her into kind of like just getting with him before the contract ends because of how much they care about each other. And so when you watch that whole dynamic, you don't expect them to not be able to get together at the end. You don't expect them to not be able to fulfill their love.
And especially with all of that, it's like what had kind of introduced all of this is because, like, the kingdom is going through an upset. Someone's trying to do a coup, and so she writes a letter to him because he's a general in charge of troops, to send in the troops to pretty much save the day. And in exchange of that, she pretty much did the infamous, "I'll do whatever you want." And so he's like, "Okay, bet." And so even though she kept begging him, he's just like, because I think she has like a month left in her quote-unquote servitude here, for him to wait, and he's not willing to, because he always feels like the emperor and her duty and sense of obligation took her away from him, and he's feeling all kinds of ways about it 5 years later. And what also, like, got me with that is because, like, you have that dynamic of him wanting to take his anger and aggravation out on her all this way, but when it reaches the midway point, it shifts in so many ways. But up until, like, probably, like, episode, I guess, like, 5 or 10, in this dichotomy, is that he came off as very childish, the way he was reacting to her, wanting to make her jealous, trying to make her jealous by being engaged or flirting with someone else, making her subservient with that whole, like, getting on her knees and offering up biscuits or something like that. Like, how dare you? And, like, I also hated how he treated originally the child, because I think he resented her choice and this child, of her choosing this child over him.
Definitely.
And so I think, like, the question that a lot of people had asked in the Vicky, which I wanted to ask you, was that without the letter from her sister manipulating her, was it necessary for her to marry the emperor even for the 5 years? I don't think
so. It wasn't. After I watched everything, I don't think she actually needed to marry the emperor. You can still take care of your nephew without marrying your brother-in-law. Like, you are you are essentially imperial family, right? You are connected to the imperial family by marriage. In
Yes.
other dramas, that usually means you have free access to the palace.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there was no need for that. You are the
Right.
crown prince's aunt. You can
Right.
come in anytime you want to.
Absolutely. Like, you could have just stayed there until he was like 10. You still would have been married to, you could have still been married to the main lead.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah. And like, another thing about this drama that is, I guess, me personally injecting myself into the story is that the male lead realistically probably would be a better emperor because he has the military might, he can fight, he's pretty righteous. So I'm like, you should actually use up the throne because, I mean, your brother's crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing about this, like, the thing that I thought was really impressive was how calculating the emperor was. Because for the most part, we all took that he, from the get-go, and they had already, like, trickled that in that he was sick. He was a sickly emperor, and he won't have much time and stuff. But then you realize that a lot of the things he was orchestrating behind the scenes was not only just from him, but also this dude isn't sick at all. He was just doing that to get her sympathy for him to like.
Yeah.
Because the emperor always wanted Su Yan over anybody else. I'm like, that's messed up. And you know what else was really messed up was when he used his son.
Yeah.
To pretty much like to take out the male lead, but at the same time he was willing to also sacrifice his son. I think also because his son wasn't born from Su Yan, it was born from her sister.
Yeah.
So he was willing to sacrifice his crown prince.
Yeah.
Just to get. I'm like,
yeah.
that is
honestly, the emperor's literally crazier than whatever you think the male lead is at the beginning because he tells his previous wife, the sister of the female lead, that
I think it's Su Wen. It's Su Wen, yeah.
Yeah, the only reason he married her was because he was like, it's a way for me to actually get with your sister because she's a concubine's daughter and no one's going to marry a concubine's daughter to an emperor and you're from a legitimate family. So I had to do it in this roundabout way to get her. And it's like, he didn't want to tell her, he didn't tell her like that, like straightforwardly, but she ended up basically finding out and he had to basically admit to her that that's what's happening. But it's like, that's so, okay, yes, emperors do messed up things, yes, but to do this just for romance is crazy. I think also because I have watched previous dramas where usually if an emperor was a concubine's daughter, they could get her. Like, you did not need to play this game, right? But it's how the writers wrote it. The writers wrote it to make it difficult. But I don't think it was a great choice because it really set the stage for having a terrible ending because, I mean, it's nonsensical, first of all, because you can technically get whoever you want to without having to manipulate people. And the way they set things up, it's like he was able to manipulate people and then have it blow up in his face primarily because he didn't need to do the things that he did. And so it felt like, you're hurting me, you're wasting my time. And as you said previously, he's also hurting his own kin, the crown prince. I don't care about you because your mother is not the woman that I love. And it's like, but the woman you love does actually care about this young boy who is your child. And it's like, and even though that's happening, you're still putting him in danger to get the care from the woman that you love. And it's like, okay, even if she never found out what you're doing, what makes you think that, like this is happening and she's gonna want to be with you? Like, the palace is in complete chaos. There's no hope. She has to call your brother for help because you don't have any help. And it's funny because you're at odds with your brother, but the emperor also has control over the military. So you put him in that position to help save you. But then you also get mad because he's there and you're thinking, you're going to steal her away from me. But it's like, you already stole her away from your brother because you didn't let them get married because of the whole contract thing. And then her sister as well knows what's happened and is also trying to put her away from the male lead so that she can suffer like she suffered.
It's to me, the ironic thing is that the emperor and Su Wen deserved each other.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. I was like, I don't understand why he didn't love you, because you're more like him than her. But I mean,
Absolutely.
usually in dramas like this, like whether it's Western or Asian, usually like the girl that's more similar to the guy is the one that he actually hates, and the one that is more pure spirited is the one that he wants, which reaches back to that whole flower girl trope. The flower girl trope, I mean, dramas like that usually, I should have probably known, but they usually never end well, because the pure spirited female lead is in like this like sea of chaos that she really can't get rid of, and like her being perfect is not gonna make her be at peace or make her have a happy ending, because ultimately where you are does not allow you to actually flourish. You might be pure spirited, but you're not being watered. So your water's just kind of like depleting as time goes on because of where you are. And so I should have probably seen the bad ending coming from like a mile away because of that trope and because of what the female lead symbolizes. But I also had hope for something more because of how many scenes the female lead and male lead have together and how much sexual tension there is between the two characters. They don't get to do anything. Nothing happens.
What made me crazy about it. Because that was the draw. That was a lot of that I had seen the clips on, was that like that tension, that spiciness.
Yes.
And then like when it comes midway, it kind of like gives way to, I guess, like a little lighter tone before it becomes darker and twisted and of course tragic at the end. To show where it's like, but I'm like, y'all could still have like a happy passion in between for them, because like, this is another spoiler, but I hated the fact that we saw the Emperor get down with her sister, but we didn't see them get down together.
That like, pissed me off so much, because what makes you think I want to see that? I don't want to see that. Like, the sexual tension.
Especially the actor who plays evil in almost everything he's in.
Yeah, like, literally. He has that kind of face, no offense, but like that kind of evil face. Like, he just looks like a villain. You look at him and you're like, you look like a villain. I don't trust you, you know? And I'm like...
Resting evil face.
Exactly, resting evil face. And it's like, if you're going to give me a bad ending, at least give me a reprieve for all this sexual tension. You don't even give me that. It's like, I would have been more okay with the tragedy had I known they got down or something like that. Like, something happened. I'm like, okay. They let it all out.
Because I'm like, after all of this build, and of course, like the intro of them meeting and stuff like that, there had to be like giveaway some way. But like them just kissing and stuff like that.
And like, that's not enough. That's not enough.
That is not enough. And so I know that they have started, like, this is, like, things like their third drama that they start together. There is another drama, I think, Seal of Love, that they've done, like, 2 years before. But I'm like, I don't know if it's to this degree of spicy at all, but I'm sitting there like, give me something.
Give me something. It was just like... It kind of felt like, this is going to be such a weird comparison, but it kind of felt like One and Only, where that couple basically just don't end up together even though they love each other a lot. This one was like, these two really want to get down together, but they just can't because of circumstances, because the writers don't give it a go. Like, that's equally as saddening to me personally, because it's full of frustration. When they first meet, there's already sexual tension. They don't even know each other yet. Like in the flashbacks, like they already have a lot of tension before they've even like communicated. There's already something there, and so they never get to fulfill that ever. They kiss and that's it. And I'm like, this isn't giving at all. This is so empty. I felt like I was promised something and the writers failed to deliver.
Right. I'm like, and like you said, it would have been so much better to have at least, we would have been able to go into the tragic ending with a lot more like completion.
Yeah.
If they were able to complete their love together instead of the crucifixion.
Yeah.
Crucifixion that we got.
Yeah. I'm like,
stuff, and like,
oh god, that scene.
Monologuing, because I'm like, y'all could have shot him with arrows 5 minutes ago. Honestly,
no, seriously, like that. Okay, the ending scene, like where he, as you said, he basically gets crucified, is also supposed to be a sign of like, oh, how much he loves her, a tale of love and loyalty, whatever. But it didn't really hit me emotionally because I was just like, well, he's always, it felt like almost that he's always given her more than she's given him.
Right.
And I know she feels for him the same as he feels for her. The way she cried when he died, it's very clear. But it's like he was clearly always doing more for you. This was always a very unequal relationship. And he also always questioned, he's like, all you care about is being pure. Like, don't you just want to be dirty sometimes? Don't you just want to just let go? Especially because people were being dirty towards her behind her back and she had no clue. I'm like, in this situation, homegirl, like, I love that you're the flower girl and whatever, but you have to dirty your white a little bit, because this doesn't help you in any way. And then the guy you love ends up dying for you, and nothing happens between you two either. And it's all the Emperor's fault.
Well, I'm glad that with her, like, I think it was befitting for her to take out the Emperor because she poisons him.
Yeah.
I thought that was, like, a great justice.
That's beautiful.
I'm sure that was, like, this is not only for the man I love.
Yeah.
This is for you also attacking my child that I raised. And this is also for my sister.
Yeah.
Who, I'm sure she still also didn't get the clarity that her sister was also.
I'm sure she didn't know that. I'm sure. No.
But I'm glad that she got that revenge on them.
Yeah.
But I just hated the squandered, like we had talked about, the squandered ability for the two characters to get together.
Yeah.
Well, the whole draw of the drama for me, except for, Richard Lee being so freaking pretty.
Yeah, he's so pretty.
Was for the simple fact that this man, even though he could have taken the throne immediately, especially with the knowledge that people were familiar with, that the Emperor was sickly.
Yeah.
He could have had that. He didn't want that. He wanted, essentially, what he said was due to him.
Yeah.
Which was Su Yan.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he ever wanted.
That's all he wanted.
Her.
That's all he wanted.
I'm like, it didn't even get her.
Yeah.
That was so funny in any way. And I'm like, why didn't she? I would have just went ahead and just roll off with my child. But I guess with that, the Emperor would have done everything with his crazy self to hunt her down.
Oh, he would have hunted her down. Absolutely. And as much as he loves her, he probably would have ended up killing her anyway, because he's like, oh, you're a threat to my kingdom. I must get rid of you now. I love you so much. And
he probably might have, but he probably would have kept her in a cage. He would have kept her somewhere. Like, he would have said, like, I found the crown prince and stuff, and I will end him if you don't comply.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
But I always thought, like, also what was, like, a clear indication to me that the Emperor wasn't worth anything. Whenever you watch the scene with the little boy, and if the Emperor's involved, he never addresses him. He always addresses his mother.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, And also the Emperor had mentioned after a while, it's like, well, I want to have like lunch or dinner or something with the crown prince, because I haven't had it in a while. I'm like, define a while, since he was 2?
Yeah, since he was 2. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, he didn't really interact with the crown prince very much. He wasn't very fatherly towards him. But then,
so he had to use him as a tool.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. He just wanted to pretend like it to kind of get Sion. And it's just like, you are insane. You are truly insane.
Because, like, even with that, she was starting to catch on to, like, something's
not right here.
Yeah. But then, like, when he was just like, I want to have, eat with the crown prince right here, and she was just like, no, he needs to go and do some other homework. He's like, I will do something to him if we don't eat.
Yeah, and it's like, that's your son. Like, you should, like, I'm here because you guys are like, I need you to protect him. And it's like, and also, like, just for the female lead's case as well, it is, you would think that she'd be thinking, hey, but I'm his aunt. Do I really need to marry the Emperor? Like, you think she'd be questioning it a little bit. Like, even questioning her sister. Like, do I really need to do this?
Well, it goes back into her, like, flower girl spirit. She's just thinking the pureness of everything, and her intentions are pure. Is that she wanted to protect this little boy and also do a duty by her sister, even though I think it would have behooved her if she would have just told Richard Lee's character about the reason why she's doing this, instead of letting this dude be bitter about it all these years. And it probably might have, like, changed the economy of the story, because it's kind of like, very hard for him to come in here with all these expectations of wanting to, like, take back what originally had belonged to him. But she had told him that lie leading up to that, like, I'm only doing this so I can become empress, when that wasn't the case. She was doing it from a pure set of heart. But I guess she might have also done that because she thought that he might not have let her go otherwise if he had known why she was giving up or going to marry the emperor for, because then he wouldn't let her go. He would talk her out of it. I'm like, girl, you need to be talked out of it. Honestly, I really think you should have.
She did
a long time ago, but I don't know like what good it was served if he would have known, but I don't know.
Like it's the like as you said, like with the flower girl trope, it's also the naivety of the flower girl. Like they're never smart and they're not supposed to be. And it's because they're supposed to be easy to manipulate because they are truly good, joyful, pure people, you know? And even with more serious dramas in this genre, these characters always make stupid mistakes, always see the best in people, and it does never end well for them. I guess the only thing that's good in this case is that because she poisons the emperor, she will probably eventually become Empress Dowager, and she already has a very close relationship with the crown prince, and she's his aunt. So she's actually able to then probably be a sort of advisor for him and a regent for the kingdom, bringing it back to peace. And I'd like to think as well that the Melli's military men would also be quite loyal to her because of how much they know he loved her as a way to kind of give back to him as their general. So I'm like, she she's sad in the end, but I also feel like in a way she kind of won, because it's like you also end up being Empress Dowager, ruling over the kingdom, stuff like that, and maybe having all these men at your
actually,
feet.
she died. She died at the end.
Oh wait,
She
yeah,
got
never
poisoned
mind.
too. She drunk the same thing.
Oh wait, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Damn
And
it.
so, because it was like that pure justice of where she can't be with the man she loves, so I guess like,
Yeah,
it's,
she
like this will end
dies.
you and me at the same time, and I'm okay
I
with that.
forgot. She does die. She does
Yeah.
die, guys. She dies.
And like, and that's what it makes it so Shakespearean.
Yeah,
in
oh,
so many ways.
the whole Romeo and Juliet aspect of it, like we were lovers and we couldn't be together until we both died. But then now I'm
Right.
thinking, what's going to happen to the crown prince? How's the kingdom's going to fall? They're going to get like usurped by some other kingdom, and then it's all going to restart again. Like
I
that.
think so, because I'm sure like he's going off to, I guess, like where the where Richard Lee's character was from.
Yeah.
Like that's where he's being hidden at.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's gonna go and live a life of obscurity and stuff, and maybe he might get older and then come back and fight, because the boy can fight. So I'm sure
Yeah.
he goes under like his military to train him.
Yeah, to train
He'll
him
come back
to come
victorious.
back.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah. And like them both dying at the end. Like
Yes. Yes. I expected actually him to die, because I blame Vicky for this in the commentary, because they were also like giving indications.
they were
especially-
giving, yeah, they love spoilers in Vicky. Like
They-
they love spoiling
Well,
stuff.
I think like a lot of people was like with speculation and stuff, especially since Richard Lee's character is so like yandere,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much so.
Yeah.
That a lot of times characters like that don't tend to live long anyway. So I at least planned for him to at least die,
But not her as well.
not her and stuff in the circumstances that he did, because like that was crazy with the whole, I call it the mithril the mithril like set of armor that the emperor had put on her before he went sending her outside, and they had like a host of arrows. I'm like, she wouldn't survive that, sir. She
Yeah,
wouldn't have done
no.
it.
No.
Especially since like not everybody's a good shot. Like no.
True.
But I was glad that, because that seemed like they had cut it in such a way to where it seemed like he was doing something a lot more improper
Yeah.
with her. And I'm sitting here
True.
like, oh, you just want us to hate you like forever, and the actor too. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do.
Like, oh, I'm a hate
But-
forever for that. Oosh. God.
But I'm glad it was because he was putting on armor. I'm like, that's not okay, but still putting on armor on
Yeah.
her. But it's also with the expectation that he also was okay with, like, why? I don't know how, like, any kind of villain thinks this way. If you harm someone that these people care about, that they will eventually fall in love with you
like,
and ingratiate themselves. I'm like, you harmed her child, you harmed the man that she
Yeah,
loved.
it's not
like,
happening.
she's not going to fall in line for you,
No.
sir. Not at all. Especially of how crazy you have been in manipulating her emotions, because now she knows that you have lied to her, being
Yeah.
sick and everything else to get to her. You're
Yeah.
crazy.
like,
Nobody ever thinks that way and wins. So
like, and
she would have been her time to get out of there for sure.
seriously. And I also just like, it just like her dying, like it just felt so, it didn't feel cathartic. It felt anticlimactic. I was like, I would have loved for her to live and become Empress Dowager and kick ass. I'm like, and I know more often than not with characters like this in the Flower Girl trope, like an example is like Rui's Royal Love in the Palace. That one with the ending, like it's very like tame till the end. Like the family doesn't win. She's always, you know, in the background. She's very just like, oh, let things be. And her dying like that instead of like fighting felt like that. I can understand to a particular extent, because like she's already given so much of her life and her time to this kingdom, and then everything literally crashes and burns, and she's like, my lover is gone, the kingdom is fallen, what more is there left? But then it's just like, at least the only true thing in the situation is that you do love the crown prince and he is your nephew. I'm like,
Right.
I would have loved for her to at least try and live for him, and not necessarily because of a contract, but because of her genuine love and care for him in terms of family. And so I do
Right.
think that maybe wasn't the best choice in terms of maybe keeping her character consistent until the end. Because
Right.
although, yes, you're dying for your lover, there's still that child that you love. Regardless of anything else that's happened, you genuinely love this child. And even if he's gonna have like a military behind his back that's gonna like protect him in the mountains or something, it would be nice for you to be there, because now everybody he's known and loved is completely gone. Like his mother,
Right.
his aunt, his uncle that he just recently got to know, and then also his father. He now has nobody. He is a complete orphan. And it's just, I mean, it's just another cycle of revenge, another cycle of anger, because a character like the Crown Prince, when he grows up, is going to be just full of vengeance. Like, it just kind of like starts off another really negative pattern. And maybe that also says something about the way certain Chinese dramas are trying to end their shows. They want to end it as tragically as possible, but I mean, that just repeats the cycle of revenge and the cycle of tragedy and chaos. And I'm like, it's called A Tale of Love and Loyalty. It didn't need to end like this. Like, she didn't need to die. I really didn't think she needed to die at the end. So that felt unnecessary to me.
She didn't have to at all. And which I thought, like, she was finally getting her backbone towards the end. She was getting her growth. And it seemed like as soon as all this stuff happened, it stunted.
Yeah, she became very like, oh, I give up. And it's like, keep going, actually. It would be, what do they always say in Chinese dramas? They're like, it's harder to live than to die. And I think in her case, that's so true. It was really easy for you to just die and give up, but it would be so much harder for you to live on in spite of everything that's happened and keep going and like be the strength in somebody else's life and just strengthen yourself by like still living on in that world. And it's like, also the male lead would not have appreciated her dying like that after. Like, if he knew that she killed herself after he died, he would be so upset with her in the afterlife. I'm like, you think he'd bother with you when you were alive? Yeah, after you die, he's gonna be bothering you even more. He's gonna be like, why did you kill yourself? Why did you die? Like, what's going with you? You never do what you're supposed to.
He always wanted her to live on. I'm like, even regardless of how mad he was at the beginning, it would have pale in comparison if like she had done something or if something had happened to her. He would lose his crap. He would flip the table.
Yeah.
Well, he already did flip the table.
Yeah.
He already did that at the beginning. But I'm like, he would have done anything, sacrifice himself willingly to keep her safe on this side of the plane. But she was just like, no, my revenge towards this dude was enough. But I'm like, honestly, I don't know. When it came to the ending and stuff, by the time we were playing into the happy parts, like I said, I really was not invested anymore, especially because I felt a lot better that the payoff for the characters, the build up.
Yeah, the build up was we got nothing. You build up so much tension and then you give me nothing. Like, that just feels insane. Like a really, really insane choice. And I'm just like, this drama didn't need to be like this, especially because it's a short drama. I'm like, if I was watching a maybe 60 episode drama with this kind of genre, I would, I'm like, okay, maybe I can expect something like tragic, but I'd also expect that in a long drama like that, like a long version of this drama, I'd get payoff, especially with this amount of tension. How can you give me nothing and expect me to be happy about it?
Right, because I'm like, I think it's like pretty ironic too, because whenever I had seen clips of this on my feed, that it was always for the spicy parts, but you never see the actual afterwards. From that, just sitting on like, that was your greater selling point, but it's just sad that your impetus and your greatest showcase was in like what 3 to 4 episodes you were saying, and that just squandered. Y'all squandered the powerhouse y'all would have had. Literally. Even with this drama, and there has been dramas that were done even cheaply and not as like cost effective as this. Yeah. But have been told like a better, concise, consistent story throughout.
True.
So I'm like, this is like you said, on the fault of the writers, the editing, the choices made, and this was also based off of a web novel, so it also makes me wonder how it was versus what we got.
Because sometimes they make changes that are like, it's not in the novel at all, but they decide they want to like adapt it slightly differently, which is why sometimes the novel can have a happy ending and then the drama can end completely differently, like completely open-ended or tragically. So I do wonder like how the novel may differ from this drama.
And I'm like, maybe I mean, maybe it still might have ended tragedy, but maybe there was like, I'm sure there wouldn't be as many like jump arounds and stories and stuff
No,
like that.
I doubt the story is as messily like orchestrated, I guess, as this one is. Like, I don't know who.
Like, so many choices could have been made, and like we had said, like Richard Lee deserves better. He deserves so much better. Like, to me, this is like getting into like the bottom middle tier of C-dramas and stuff. So I'm like, he in the mini drama mark, like another actor that I really like, Young Mi.
Yeah, Young
he
Mi,
does nothing but mini dramas, but the mini dramas that he's currently in are pretty high caliber in regards to production wise. So maybe he can slide into that. But I believe that Richard Lee is supposed to be in that new
Shu Long Yin with Lee Young-shi. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
Hopefully that will help, because I know if you're given a chance to star in a lot of these higher budget dramas, even just being a secondary or even like a minor lead,
it helps. It can help you a lot.
And he is young enough to where he can be noticed. It's never too late.
Yeah, so. I agree with that. Oh my lord, yeah. I ended up rating this drama like a 6 out of 10 on MDL. Like, I was not impressed. I was like, oh my lord, dude. Yeah, I gave it a 6.
I rated it a 7.
7,
I think that's like the average.
That's fair. That's fair.
And stuff, because I currently, all things considering, I did like I really liked, of course, like being biased, I liked Richard Lee's acting. It was really good. His dynamic with her was really good, so I really want to check out the other dramas they were in just to see just how their dichotomy is together. But I'm just hoping better for his future.
Yeah, I hope so too.
It could have been better.
Kind of like Ryan Chang, where he was the second male lead in My Journey to You, and now he's going to be the male lead in Legend of the Female General. Like, his career is already skyrocketing. like crazy. So I'm like, sometimes, as you said, being a second male lead in a major drama production can actually really boost your career, as long as your character's interesting and that kind of thing. It happened to Liu Young-shi as well in Ashes of Love. Like, he was Ron Yu.
And also, like, was it Zhang Li-hee?
Yeah.
Completely for Love Between Fairy and Devil.
Exactly.
The payoff.
Yeah.
The payoff can happen if you have the right role. And with him, he just needs that. I'm glad that he's getting work in this capacity and stuff. But I'm like, he just needs a chance, because he will be very dynamite if he's given the chance to.
I agree.
And I think like a lot of people on Reddit and on Viki were just like, he doesn't have bigger roles and stuff. So maybe I hope like by like 2026 he'll start getting a lot more noticed.
I hope so too. Yeah. But yeah, an okay drama, a decent drama. Like, if you guys like want to check it out in the comments below, like, let us know. You can watch it on Viki or Tencent. I'm sure there are other like probably like VPN sites you can like watch it on as well.
It is on YouTube.
It's on YouTube too.
I kind of had to pull off of YouTube because I think like Sin TV had it, but it's like Mango TV. The subtitles are trash.
Oh yeah.
on certain things. So just go on to Viki and to Tencent if you can have that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, if you like short dramas, it won't take you that long to watch. If you don't mind like some tragedy, it won't take you that long to watch. So, I mean, and if you have watched it, let us know in the comments below what you thought about this drama, what you liked, what you didn't like.
I mean, there might be more than the things you don't like.
Yeah, some didn't like, so let's
if you
see.
just want to say that Lee Fei is pretty, I'm pretty good with that too.
Yeah, very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. And this channel is Viki Raves, but also Dramatic Thoughts is also collabing with this channel. So she also has a channel that talks about Asian dramas and all things TV. So I will absolutely link her drama in the comments, but link her channel, drama, in the comments below. So you guys can go watch. I'm pretty sure my
comments are also going to be in there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, please come and swing by the channel and stuff. I usually like to do video content of dramas and stuff like that I watch, and we'll start getting into tropey things too. So, but we definitely would love to continue collaborate in the future.
Expect more collab videos in the future, so you'll definitely be seeing more of the two of us on this channel.
Absolutely.
All right.
Y'all have a great day.
Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye.